Hi everyone, Alan here once again. I just hope everybody's been having a great day. I did some videos today, and one of the things I forgot to do today is I forgot to go and film the diggers across road from the Morrisons. They've started digging up the ground there, getting it ready for some foundations for some project. But nobody really knows what they're going to be doing there. Yeah. Also, the old Needle Exchange Transdev office next door to the Fleece pub has now gone. That's been bulldozed. Now all we need to happen now is for those test huts to start getting moved to the other side of the car park on Penny Street. And and that, those to be moved because they want to start redeveloping the Fleece Inn. I don't know what they're going to do with that. There are rumours that they're going to turn it into flats for the homeless. I don't know if that's true or not, but one of the proposals that was put forward for the Thwaites' development is the moving of Morrisons, because one of the major things that Morrisons missed out upon was having a petrol station. Well, it did have a petrol station, but the fire brigade turned round and said that they didn't really want a petrol station in that location, because the major problem with that was petrol fumes. And you know what happens with petrol fumes, don't you? If you accidentally get a spark, you'll end up with a big, massive explosion. And that's the reason why Morrisons Blackburn's petrol station got closed down. Due to when you did go in there, you could basically smell the petrol vapour in there. And it was basically a nightmare waiting to happen. If someone came in there, lit a fag up, and went, well, you know what the picture would be, won't you? And plus, the other major problem with that is that Morrisons is right next to a railway line. And it goes round to the back of, the Telegraph area. And if there was an explosion, there'd be bricks going everywhere, here, there, and everywhere. And that would have been that would have put the knackers on the Telegraph building, because they've just turned that place into apartments, and it would have completely, totally buggered the place up. So what they are going to do with that area, Thwaites' area, it's going to be mixed use. There are rumours that they're going to put a alternative shopping area there. So the mall across the way is not going to be too happy about that. Also, Morrison's is switching from one side of the road to the other, and this is where the petrol station thing comes into play. That the new Morrison's will be they'll have the petrol station outside and open to the elements and everything, so that they can have a petrol station there. Because what it was, the petrol station, what I've just described, it made them a fair bit of income. So, yeah, that's going to be put there. And as I said, there's going to be housing put up. Well, they'll knock Morrison's down, and the proposal for that side is housing, if I remember too rightly, next door to where the Lancashire Evening Telegraph used to be, across from it. I think it's called High Street, isn't it? High Street. Along that, all the way along there, all that wall will go down, and round the side of it would be basically housing. And also, there is also talks about extending Night Safe there. We'll soon see what happens about that. And also, they're going to put some units on there as well. But I wouldn't mix housing and units together. It's either one or the other. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do with the land across from that, because there's a big massive grass verge where Larkhill Health Centre used to be. I know Lookers have bought a bit of land from that and put two new dealerships there. But there are plans for something else being put there as well. But Blackburn with Darwen Council are being rather cagey about what they're going to put there. The biggest mistake that they did do on Barbara Castle Way was taking down and knocking down a perfectly good health centre. And that's one of the big mistakes that they made, because the health centre on Primrose Bank, I must admit, it's a tiny practice, and really what they should have done is kept Larkhill Health Centre as it was, and moved some of the smaller practices round the area, and put them in there instead of putting a practice on Primrose Bank. And then they could have built something. They could have put some houses there, to be truthful. Put a few more houses there. Yeah, so we're just going to have to wait and see what Blackburn with Darwen's got in mind for the Thwaites' site, for what for what I've been hearing. And I have been noticing that quite a few of the COVID testing huts have started to disappear. And, well, we'll just have to see what happens with that. Because the NCP, as I understand it, have sold the... I don't know if they sold it. But I think if NCP might want their car park back, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. The what was it? The pub what was at the far end towards Barbara Castle Way, they're not going to take that down, they're just going to leave it. Because it's an arts and crafts place at the moment. But there are rumours that the job centre might be moving. Well, they've already got a job centre in Debenhams, but is the job centre on Penny Street at risk of being knocked down? We'll just have to wait and see what happens about that, because if that does come down, I reckon a tower block will go there in its place, but I'm not too sure what they're going to do with that. So that's a wait and see situation. So I'm just winging it for some of the stuff that was happening. I went into Preston today, and yeah, very disappointing. The tower block that they were doing at this moment in time has got to 6 floors. Bit of a disappointment that. I thought they would have got to 7 or 8, maybe more. But that turned out as a... That's why I didn't video it, because I was very disappointed with how far that they got, and it's not good at all. And also there's the problem of Premier House. Premier House they had a Tesco there, and, well, office space. The major mistake that they made there is putting the office space there. And what they should have basically done is made that all residential. But that's the major mistake that they made doing that. Yeah, the Derbyshire place is still sat there. If Preston City Council is watching or listening to this video, about time you did something about that, because the owners of it are just sitting on their hands and not bothering doing anything with it. to be truthful, I think it's time for it to be pulled down. Cause yes, it may be a listed building, but the people who've got it, well, they don't give a monkeys about the building really, and I think it's time for it to go. And something built there in its place, something new, something modern, and yeah, it's about time it was dealt with. What I am a bit niffed about is that quite a lot of areas in Preston now are starting to look ragged and run down. I'm sorry, Preston City Council, but you're just you're just leaving things to go to rack and ruin, really. And it's about time you give some of the residents of your city a kick up the backside. And I think they're getting the bit of the Blackburn within them a little bit. You know what I mean by that, don't you? That Blackburn people are lazy. And I think some of the laziness is rubbing off into some of your citizens in the Preston area, and they can't be bothered cleaning their area up. On the way into Preston today, I had a look. I had the camera on some of the properties, and they just weren't. It looked like a lot of the people who own those properties weren't even interested in keeping them in all the jobs and everything on them. It looked an absolute mess. And when people come into your city and the people see that, well, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to your city, And I thought parts of Blackburn were bad, But in a lot of cases, I really do feel that Blackburn is, it's a toilet at the moment, And they need to get the road markings redone and everything, and keep on top of things, because a lot of northern towns, I'm sorry to say this, they look like shitholes. Honestly, they really do. And in some cases, no matter how much money you throw at it, it doesn't get any better. Because the people there are absolute lazy pigs, So, well, I'm gonna bugger off now. Alfie should be here soon. He's been out for a while, so I'm just gonna wait a little bit longer and see what happens. Well, I'm gonna bugger off now. I've had my 2 pennies worth. Bye for now.